you guys. We'll wait till the train gets going. So the train is a half-mile long. We'll talk in a second here about speed.
The world is waiting, and Pittsburgh International Airport can get you there. We fly to 62 non-stop destinations and have daily service to Europe via British Airways and Iceland Air. Reserve your parking ahead of time. Here, it's not for the nervous individuals. Save the money. Or places parking info.
Centrally speaking?
Yeah.
Needs to hurry it up. All right, you guys. How fast do you think we're going right now? How fast do you think we're going, Nate? 50 miles an hour? Anybody else have a guess? 80? Do you have any guess how fast we're going? 90 miles per hour. Well, they're all good guesses. All a little fast. No more than 35 miles an hour. Top speed there. It takes about 37 seconds for the train to go from one end to the other.
You can find flight information on the digital screen located just before the escalator. Be careful.
This is a lot faster than when you
Have
work
a
at
great
the
flight.
places or a smart card or something and you have to take the tunnel to
Oh,
get
yeah.
over there because you're going on 10. It's not as fun.
All right, so we're going to get off here. We're going to continue to go left. Again.
This train is one of the
Yeah, so it's, yeah.
Dinosaur!
Let's talk too much about T-Rex. We'll talk about it. So just some more interesting facts about the train, right? So the train runs, like I said, a half mile, goes no more than 35 miles an hour. At the end of the train, you might have noticed on either end, it sort of goes out a little bit on either end. And that was actually a construction deal. That was to save money. They built the platforms as wide as they needed to be because there's a formula for how wide they need to be based on the number of passengers coming in. But if they would have dug the trench for the tunnel the entire way, that entire distance, it would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Just by building it out wide for the platforms on either end, but moving in and then taking out the dirt, saved them a ton of money. So the train, like I said, there's a lot of costs that go into that. Just by making the airport efficient, moving it from one spot to another, cutting those costs down of lost time and lost revenue, not lost revenue, but lost productivity. It's going to save the airlines between $18 to $20 million annually in operational and maintenance costs. And if anything, there is any main reason why we're doing it, it is to save those operational costs for operational maintenance costs for the airlines, because we expect that's going to add extra revenue, extra routes and extra air service to the terminal in future years. We're going to hustle over to this escalator because we'll feed the crowd coming off this train. You can say hi to T-Rex as we go fast. Yeah, escalators. That's the other thing, right? Escalators are an issue. So the T-Rex came to the airport in about 2001, 2002. And we get a lot of questions about why you have a T-Rex at the airport. It is not our first passenger. People think it might have been the first passenger, but it's not true. But it's to highlight what we have to offer in Pittsburgh. And so the Carnegie Museum brought it in. And it's part of our arts and culture program, Watch Your Step. But, okay. But the T-Rex, we didn't get a stop out there before. The T-Rex is part of our arts and culture program. The other big item, everybody says, you know, Franco Harris. Is Franco Harris the statue going to be in the new terminal? He will be in the new terminal. George Nelly will be with him. T-Rex might be like every other dinosaur. He might go extinct. He might not. He might make the cut.
How did you get here so fast?
Okay, we're going to walk over to this side of the hall. Got everybody? Cool. That's great. That's. Delta and Frontier. Breeze uses it as well. Okay. You're going to see some planes. After the tour is over, you can take it as much time as you want to go on.
Mom, I'm gonna be here for hours.
Just as long as you have your
No,
passport.
okay. We're gonna be here for no, it's fine. Huh? It's 3:30.
You can stay as long as you want to, but if I come in tomorrow morning and I find you here, I think you're crazy. Doesn't bother me one bit. This is all you don't say you don't need. See, of course, they're right. Took me 20 years to figure that out.
What's that anyway?
Take a photo with it?
Yeah, you can think about it later. Yeah. I prefer you do it later, but
Yeah, you know, no, we have much
so I'm going to ask you if you can stand to the left. You're going to see the new building going up here, out the window here to your left. And you can see where the beam is. We're going to be stopping there later on to get a closer, a close-up look. All the stuff that's happening out of the window. We're heading down to the very end of the D concourse to get a better idea of how the whole system works. The tough part is remembering that this is sort of in reverse. That's the way we're looking at this. So we're going to be looking at the exit roadways, not the entrance roadways. And just sort of the goofy way that it's set up and the goofy way it's built. Trying to learn how to do everything in reverse and before has been a challenge, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. I'd also encourage you, as I was just telling the boys, you have your sterile area pass. You can stay here as long as you want to stay, and that includes, yes, if you want to stay during the night, that's fine. If I do find you there here tomorrow, I'll think you're weird, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being weird. But I do encourage you to look around and check out the videos. We won't have enough time to check out the videos on the walls. I don't know where Oscar just went to, but Oscar was the guy that made those videos, and they're awesome. And they tell the story pretty well. Oh, good. Hopefully you didn't hear me. But yeah, they tell the story of the new airport as well. So a question that we get all the time is just by looking at the surroundings here, the concourse. It's kind of obvious this isn't a newly built airport, right? You got a new airport going up right outside the window. And so the question is, are you going to be doing anything to address that transition to the look, right? And so our project architect has a good line about how, we're going to be starting an airside renovation project. Actually, we've already started it because we don't want people walking from the new terminal being the Jetsons into the old terminal being the Flintstones. We don't want that transition, right? We want to keep that steady. So this construction wall you see up here to your right is actually the beginning of our airside renovation project. That is a restroom behind that wall. It's getting completely gutted and remade, and we're doing one on each concourse. So we've got 4 concourses, so there's one on each concourse. These will be done in a few weeks, right, Oscar? We found out yesterday they're going to be done in August. And so yes, that's just a few weeks. And then when they're done, they're going to move down the hall and do the next one. The other parts that they've done, Iris, you might want to watch yourself here a little bit. Some of the other parts that they'll do, if you look up here, you can see it doesn't look real exciting right now. It's just a beam of light with a straight light going down. But you'll be able to see as you walk down further, it's new light, it's different lighting. So different things that are going on. We're applying a fresh coat of paint to the gates, some carpet, as well as some new, what would you call it, technological infrastructure as well? Is that fair to call it? Yeah. So the new wiring and all those.
Yeah, have your attention, please.
So
Transportation security.
if you remember back to the presentation, when we built the airport, I said we're putting the new terminal inside the C and D wings, right? So now we're in the D wing, and there used to be gates in between those areas. So we had to clear out those gates and to be able to slide in that new terminal. So where the gates were in the deconcourse, there's everything that's right behind that wall. And what's behind that wall right now are offices. So all the people that are involved in the administration of the new project, their offices are right back behind there. And then a smart idea was to be able to use the wall as a way to tell our story and about things that we're doing for the new terminal. So you can see that on all the equipment. So if you look way out there, you can see actually a truck right now, a dump truck, that's sort of driving out there. It's about to make a left-hand turn. So it's going down the main entrance into the job site. And so that main entrance isn't really a road. It's a former taxiway. So it was taxiway B. So it's one exit down on the parkway or the interstate that you get off. You pass up the main entrance and then go to the next one. And then you come down to taxiway B. You turn off right and then you come up onto the property and then on taxiway B, come down the road. We petitioned the FAA in order to do that. The FAA was fine, just moved the security fence, which is what we did. So it's very cool that they could come in. It's very cool to see major heavy equipment moving up and down the taxiway with planes landing and taking off right next to it, which happens quite frequently. But the cool thing is we didn't need to build a new road, so it saves us money. It lessens the impact to the customer, which is our goal. And when it's all said and done, at the end of this, we'll rehab that taxiway again, and it'll reopen as a taxiway for planes. So if you look at it, you obviously can see the new terminal right off to your left-hand side. And right in front of us is the 1,200-foot access bridge. So the top level of that bridge is the departures roadway. Yes, thanks. Is the departures roadway. So if you go all the way to the left, that is the way the cars on that top part of the bridge. That's the way they'll come in to drop people off on the roadways in order to catch the flight, and then they'll continue off obviously into the terminal. The middle part of the deck, that is the arrivals area. So that's where folks will be coming in to pick up people coming off the flights as well. The bottom level where you see that little tractor that's kind of going kind of fast on the roadway there, that right now is actually the baggage, the tug route that brings the bags from one side of the terminal. But part of that will be for the commercial vehicles. So your Ubers, your Lyfts, your taxis, your buses, if you're being picked up by one of those, you'll be on that level. They'll all funnel from left to right and all the way out. So maybe we can slide down to the next window, or maybe we can stay there. It doesn't really matter too much. The big structure that's going up, by the way, it's not all that impressive, although it's impressive the scaffolding that's going up on there. Those are stairwells that they're putting in, emergency stairwells, from the top level down to the floor. I'm sure they've got to be there for a reason, but right now it blocks my view of the tour and it kind of makes me angry. But it's there nevertheless. So if you're being dropped off, you would walk in. The main entrance there is right about where the glass comes in. So I said before, there's 100,000 square foot of glass. The cleaning people would tell me, no, I'm wrong. It's 200,000 square foot of glass because they got to clean the inside and the outside. So I'm counting it wrong. But that's where you go in and you walk forward, and you can see sort of a U shape, or sort of that window well is on that level. If you go back to that second leg, the end of that U, I guess, the U shape, that's the beginning of the ticket counters. So ticket counters will run that whole length all the way down. So you go there, you would either get your boarding pass or check your bag, and then you work your way to the middle and head down. You'll see how that works a little bit better down at the next set of windows. But that's pretty much the way it'll work. So Brianna has a great picture right now, great rendering of it's the most I've ever seen. But yeah, so that duct back here is probably coming back empty. You're just dropping off back and forth. Inefficiency in action, folks. And we're going to get that corrected. So we're going to walk down the hall here a little bit. It makes it a little bit more difficult to see. But I would encourage you to get up to the window here. So if you look out basically a little bit to the right through the bridge deck, off in the distance, you can see the parking garage. Now it's kind of funny. I told you the parking garage is one of the biggest parking garages, if not the biggest one in the state, but you never get a good view of it here. The building's always blocked. There's something in the way. But I can assure you it is a huge parking garage that's over there. So again, the parking garage is going to triple the amount of covered spaces. And again, we talked about the design down the way, down the hall. That has a design by the same artist, Adam Kuby. That's called Cross Currents, trying to deal with the idea of travel and movement there. And one of the things that he incorporated, Pittsburgh's known for its 90 neighborhoods, so he took the idea of street maps and sort of put the grids of street maps that are in there as well. And you'll see some squiggly and some gradually rolling lines. Those are to add to the rivers and the streams and the hills of Western Pennsylvania. So it's a cool idea. It gives you a great idea. Like I said, the arts program is very, very big to the airport, very important to the airport. It's just something that makes you think. It's not just a garage, right? There's something more to it than that. We talked a little bit about the customer service building, the building that connects this terminal, the new terminal, to the parking garage. Another building that you really can't see. If you look through the bridge deck again, you might see a steel structure, framing of the structure going up on the left side. And then if you look down on the bottom of the ground, there's like a green wall with two purple walls. That's the customer service building. That's the building that'll connect the two buildings in between. It's where you pick up your rental car. So I gotta admit, when I started working here, I was sort of excited because I was working in the middle of a hair mall of restaurants. And I was like, wow, I can try somewhere new for lunch every day, right? I should never forget a birthday party or a present because I've got all these shops and restaurants, right? The restaurants got real tired after about 2 months, right? And all of a sudden, find yourself eating at the same spot all the time. Okay, so this is the center core. And this is the way that people are basically going to get, I don't want to say the first impression of the airport, but it's going to be the big impression of the airport if you ask me. So arriving passengers are coming in the same way. They're coming in below us off the planes. They'll be walking straight ahead, heading to the landside terminal. Where that construction wall is, where the escalators are, instead of going down, they'll be going up. They'll be going up 7 feet on the arrivals level and then head straight out. Departing passengers who are flying out, if you look at the window up above us, you can see the top level of the roof. You can see the roof of the landside terminal. And as you come down a little bit, that's where the security checkpoint will be. They'll go through the security checkpoint, across the bridge, and then down through the tunnel. And where that plywood wall is across the way, where that door is, that's the way people will be coming in. It won't be just the door, the whole entire plywood will be gone. But they'll be coming through the door, the tunnel there, and they'll come onto this area. So you can see, if you're coming this way and you're looking for the A concourse or the B concourse, it's a lot different than coming up 2 escalators the way it is now. Well, prior to the construction walls going up. Everything will be down below you, everything will be right in front of you. As you come this way, if you look way off into the distance there to the right, not that far, but that off to the right, you can see some construction going off there. Those are some of the concessions, renovations of where concessions will be. We've never had concessions up on this floor, but we're adding some concessions on here as well. Sort of making that, how do you get people to see your shops? It's sort of like the exit through the gift shop kind of idea, right? You're going to have them walk right past them. So they're going to walk through that way. Down this side, there'll be an escalator on either side and an elevator as well to get down to that level. So it's a completely different setup. Brianna has the renderings here behind you on what it'll look like. And we saw those.
your attention, please. The Transportation Security Administration mandates the removal of unattended baggage in the terminal and unattended vehicles at the curbs. Thank you for cooperating with this federal security requirement.